Alright, well, first I want to apologize for the wind. Okay, it's probably going to be pretty bad, but we're here today with my son-in-law Alex, and we're going to butcher his tree behind us. This is a flowering crabapple tree. We're going to top work it. Top working is when you graft a tree and you basically take the top and you change it over by grafting to another apple, or more than one. We're going to put at least 4 different varieties on here. First thing we have to do is cut some limbs off so that we can graft to the limbs that we have Honeycrisp available for grafting. We have McCowan. We have Shizuka. We have Smoothie. That's like Golden Delicious. Less rusty. Okay, Dayton. We have Cortland. Fall out of my hands here. We have Portland. There's our Scarlet Surprise. These are the other ones. These were Shizuka and Wealthy. Oh, Ember wanted Wealthy. Right, Ember? Some of the tools we're going to be using today. This is a pocket boy. It's a very fine knife. Very fine teeth on this. This is for small limbs. This kills fungus and bacteria on pruning shears and saws. This is supposed to work better than bleach, full strength bleach, or other chemicals that people use. Usually people use bleach. These are the Fiskars I use, P52 or P552s from Lowe's. These have a leveraged grip, so when you squeeze these together, they roll, and that increases the force that you can get on the Fiskars, so that you can take off any limb that you can fit inside those jaws there. It rolls pretty good, and a lot easier to clip than a regular shear set. Okay, so for grafting the limbs together, we'll use this grafting tape. It's paraffin tape. It's in a roll like this, 1 inch wide. And it's stretchable. Well, if it was warmer out here, it'd be more stretchable. But this thing you can stretch as you wrap it around the limbs. And I like this Parafilm tape because once you get the graft secure, you don't have to remove this. You can just let the graft grow out right through it as you need. This is the grafting knife I use. It is actually a grafting knife. You buy it as a grafting knife. It has one flat edge, and it's only sharpened on one side so that it has one flat edge. This helps you to make a straight cut. The rounded piece here helps you to pull the bark away from a cut limb. So we'll show you when we're doing it how both the blade and the rounded piece is used. And then you go on top and you cut all the way through. Okay? What you don't want is if you cut a limb, you just try to cut it from the top down. When you get to the bottom, the weight of it will just rip it off the tree, and it'll peel the bark. Here we see a crack in the bark. This is called sun scald. When the sun is shining in the winter time, it warms the bark up on one side. It's when the tree's frozen, and a lot of times the bark will split. Okay? You can't really do anything up here in the upper limbs when it does that. You just hope it doesn't get too bad. If it happens on the bark down below, on the main trunk, you can paint this with white paint, latex paint. You see it's happened down there a couple times. Okay? And that will keep the temperature of the bark more even around the tree. Take long swipes if you can. How much for a boat? Where do you almost there? No, we may change this later. Right now I'm leaving this in case we want to graft onto that. this limb up here, we don't need it that long. You know what? Some of these take a little while to heal, and if you don't leave something that's already growing good on it, at least the tree gets some nutrition in while the other ones are healing in and then ready to push something else. So we're going to leave one of them on here. I'm thinking it's not going to be a big one. So it might split. But this is going to be I don't want it to split. And this is going to fit right inside like this. Now, if I just put one of them in like this, we have this big gap over here. So I'm actually going to put two of them in, just to close up that gap. And the one that grows best, we'll keep it, and the one that grows the weakest, we'll cut it off.
Do you do two of the same type then?
Two of the same type. We're going to... Pocket, of course. I've done this before with just one, and it was like it didn't heal as fast. So we're going to put two of them in there. Now they might be different diameters, so we have to make sure we put it in nice and deep. If the wedge isn't quite straight, if it's a little bit V-shaped wedge on the sides, then you put the thicker side on the outside. Push it way in nice and deep so that the cambium is locked, is touching. So you want on the outside surface there. You know, as I push that one, it's loose. There we go. I'm going to tape it up. This is a Parafilm. It's called Parafilm. It's like Parafilm wax, but it's in a tape form. So if I keep my fingers on it, keep it a little bit warm, I can just tape it up like this. Nice stuff about it. People can use all sorts of stuff. They use bread sacks and they just cut it, you know, into strips. I like this because I don't have to come back to it and cut it free. The tree, the buds, even if I over wrap the bud, it'd push right through it in the hot summer. And I'm putting them side by side instead of up and down, so that if a bird lands on it, it doesn't break, which they like to do. Okay, I'm going to do one more piece down the middle. You want to keep that piece is cold.
Your butane torch?
Yeah. I've used all sorts of wax. You can use like the wax, the toilet seal wax, because it's kind of goopy. It works pretty good. The idea though is to just keep the wound sealed so it doesn't dry out. So you remember that the first one was wealthy. Okay. We gotta put some tags on this so we don't forget. Or once they start producing. Yeah.
Then we'll know.
Yeah, then we'll know. Okay, I'm gonna try and do a rind graft on this one. We'll see how thick this bark really is. So I cut straight in till I hit the hardwood underneath, and then I use the flat or the end of the blade here, and I can peel it open. See that? I got to peel it open a little bit. I'm gonna do the same thing for the other side. About an inch long, just cut through, back in, tie it on there, put a foot on that thing. You got to cut it down flat. This wood's slippery. How long does the cyan wood have to be? Well, if you keep whittling on it, it's going to be pretty long. That's even better. I gotta get it flatter though. Sharpen this knife a little bit. So I'm gonna say, wedge that right in underneath. You want the cambium. I'm gonna have to go back in farther. You put it in right up to the edge of the cambium in there. With this one. If you can get two nice clean swipes on this, that's the best thing. You don't want to be whittling it. You want it to be nice and flat. Those sides, like that brown stuff off. You want it nice and flat, so that when you put pressure on tape on there, it pulls that cambium back together, nice and tight. Because if it's not tight, it won't heal up. That in there, and I just peel it back a little bit, not a lot, because I can peel it back with this one and force this in. I like how that's fitting. Let's try this side. We used to try this as a kid, not knowing how to do it. We'd drill a hole in the tree and just stick it in, a branch in it. It's like, no wonder it never worked. You got to have the living tissue touching living tissue. Okay, this will use a little more wax. I normally get about a 90% take. Depending on how good a shape your cyans are in. These cyans are dormant. They were taken a couple months and a half ago, about when the wood was dormant, when the trees were dormant. So they just of these.
I'm trying to, yeah.
Okay. Thanks for the tutorial.
Yeah. Thanks for stopping by. Beautiful day.
Let that blade bite in a little bit more. You're only scraping the bark. You want to cut through the wood. That deeper angle. I'll put the whole blade in along there, like you did when you're cutting, straight in. Oh, okay, there you go. See that? You just want to like slip it in there and make sure that we get it. Okay. Push it in there and seal it off. I think you want it as light as possible.
I just trust Ember's instincts. She's usually. You mind if I practice the technique?
Make sure you get it in there, and we got more if you mess it up. So we're just cutting in. Once you cut it in like that.
It's like peeling a potato.
Kind of, yeah. Let me get that back in there. And then you peel it. You get in there all the way to the center. You peel it back a little bit and you loosen that rind up. You use the back of the blade then so you don't cut it. See that? How I'm lifting it? I cut it a little bit. I shouldn't have done that. Sharp knife will do that though. So you get the back of that blade in there and you can force it out a little bit. See that? And then go ahead, stick that in there. If you have bark showing on one side, you want that bark showing outward. And either flap, stick it in under either flap. You could put it under both, but then you have a crack down it. So there you go, all the way in until you cover the cambium. There you go. Yep, good. Start about an inch and a half back. There you go. Yeah, don't be afraid to force it in, otherwise you end up doing a U shape. It likes to bend when you're doing that, and it cuts in just before the end. There you go. Okay, I want a little bit longer cut now. Give me some more cambium exposed. There you go. Now flip it over. Okay, let's stick it in this one now.
Okay, some B-roll.
It's hard. You're gonna have to push harder than that. Get your palm of your hand behind it. There you go. Rock it back and forth.
Okay.
It's going now. Split.
How's that? Good.
You want a different apple on this one?
Pretty good. Sure.
Honey crisp. Yeah.
All right.
There you go. Make sure you save a little bark on the sides if you can. There you champion whittler. I like the nice long slope. Okay? It's a little bit, wait, a little bit thick right here. See right there? Because you got a little bud there, so it's a little bit tougher probably. That's how I cut the tip off. The flatter the better, but this should be good. Hold this for me so I don't cut myself. Like that. Who wants to tape it? I mean, wax tape it. So you're looking for like, 200% stretch right there.
All right.
Because if you just pull the whole thing, you got like 5% stretch.
Gotcha.
You're trying to
If
force
you got some
that
extra,
thing.
just give it to me.
Okay.
And what we'll do is we'll go over the tips of the limb here. This is, you got to be careful with doing this because you'll loosen up the sign.
So what is this achieving?
This is keeping the tip of the branch from drying out.
Okay.
Probably this should be done, or what I normally would do is I take it and I dip it in candle wax, hot candle wax, before I ever did this, because doing it this way might just blow right off. But
So some of the nicks and cuts that we've made, is there anything we need to do to protect those? Like for instance, the branches that we've cut, or areas like this where the sparks come
that'll
out.
heal over.
Okay.
The rind grafts are the one that are you gotta be careful with because they can be pulled out real easy. I've had birds land on them though and tip it sideways a little bit. All you gotta do is dislodge it a little bit and it's done. Okay, remember what kind we have on here?
These are Scarlet Surprise.
Cowan, Wealthy, Scarlet Supply.
Shizuka.
Shizuka?
Shizuka, and then this is Smoothie.
That's good.
Okay.
Make a knife scale. It has to be a lot thicker to make a knife scale. Make a scale for it.
What do you need a scale?
Like for the handle. Or just the side.
And here's the grafted tree a little more than 1 year after it was grafted. So we have a graft here. We got one here, one there, maybe two there. This graft of course did not take. This is the Scarlet Surprise over here. See what the graft looks like up close. Just a swelling there. So this one, this is going to die all the way back unless we get a bud to come out. But we got a graft there. Doesn't look real pretty, but it's solid. We got a graft here. We got a graft here. There's that waxy stuff. This one can come off. We put two, and the first one didn't graft, didn't take too well, but the second one did. It was a lot bigger. And we have 2 grafts over here, probably the same tree. And we got a graft here, a graft there. So we got growth on that last year, a good 3 feet. I see an apple up there too. Cool. 2020, let's see, this is June 20th, 2020.